Hello everybody, this is Sniper. Today I'm going to be going through my settings. I've had a lot of requests for this in the past, and I'm still getting a lot of requests, so I'm just going to go through my general settings, graphics, audio, and controller settings. Bear in mind that I am on PC, not the greatest PC, but I am on PC, so if you have a console, a lot of these will not apply to you, but the audio and controller will still be applicable. So keep that in mind as I'm going through everything. Starting with general, my field of view is 120. This is a no-brainer for me, as seeing the most people on the screen is obviously the most advantageous thing that you can be doing. So console has 80, but we have an FOV of up to 120, so I would recommend that you use the maximum amount. My heads-up displays are just 80. This is just a little bit lower than the 100, so I can just see more of the map. I don't really care about how big the guns are or how big the map heads-up display is, so just better for gameplay. All of these are pretty normal, everything disabled. Minimap, you want to you want it to have it on square so you can see more of the map. This is a no-brainer as well. Moving on to server latency and FPS counter, I have these enabled so I can see in real time how well my latency and FPS is in the game. Everything else basically disabled here, so there's not much on that tab. Moving on to graphics, I play full screen with an NVIDIA GeForce GXT 1660 Super. You want your render resolution to always be on 100 if you're on a PC, so keep that in mind. Other stuff that is important is details and textures. A lot of these are going to be on low because, as you can see on the right, if you go to VRAM usage, it really shoots it up towards the maximum amount. So I want that to be low so I have the most frames as possible. And it's not really important for me to see things in buildings and around the map to see them clearly. I want to see the people on the map more clearly so I can shoot them and get more kills. So that's why all those are low. Particle quality is high. That's a personal choice. It doesn't change the VRAM usage that much, so I just have that on high. That's just a personal choice. Bullets and impacts disabled, tessellation disabled, texture streaming disabled. My shadow map resolution is normal. This is also a personal preference because, in my personal opinion, when it's on low, the shadows are a bit fuzzy and you can't really see that well. But on normal, it's right in the middle. It's a good sweet spot for me. So that's why I have that on normal. You can test it out yourself. Cache spots, you always want these to be enabled because they speed up rendering for future frames, which is great. So always have those enabled. A lot of the times, if you log back on and check, they will be disabled by default for some reason. So I would always check the graphic settings every so often just to make sure it's still enabled. Everything else basically is low or disabled here. So again, this is just more a frame preference. I want high frames. I don't really care about any of these quality of lightings on the map. My anti-aliasing is always on the max, Filmic SMAA 2 or T2X. So that's just another thing that a lot of Warzone pros and really good players use, so you should be using that as well. My depth of field is disabled, and motion blur is also disabled, and this is just so the game is more clear, you can see more clearly, and it's just better for everyone. If you want to be a better player, I would recommend this. Moving on to my audio settings, I play on boost low. I used to play on boost high, but with my new mic, boost low works better for me, sounds better for me, and I can hear footsteps better. So that's why I'm on boost low. But I would recommend using one of these two. It just depends on how well you can hear people in gunfights when you're playing Warzone. So I would pick one of those two. Master volume 100, effect volume 100. Moving on to the stuff that you need to worry about, I would just say chat volume and microphone volume. Make sure that you can hear your teammates and that your teammates can hear you. So just make sure that you have a good sweet spot for those, which again is just trial and error that you can be doing. For the controller, this is going to be for console and PC, obviously. I play on tactical flipped, which is when L1 and R1 are the fire and shoot buttons, or aim down sight and shoot, rather. I've been doing this since Fortnite, and I feel like I can aim better with this and I can shoot more quickly and have a better response time. So if you play on tactical, maybe you should try this and see how this works for you. My stick layout, default dead zone 0.05. I don't have a lot of stick drift on my controller, so I can put this very, very low and have a better inner range for my stick input. If you have stick drift or your aim isn't as snappy, I would put this up a little more. But if you don't and you have good aim and centering, I would put it as low as possible so you can, you know, get more kills. For horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, I have that on 5. I would go anywhere from 5.5 to 8.8. I wouldn't pass those parameters. 5.5 for me works the best. I can still career end people in 360, but I also still have you know, good movement and centering with 5.5, and it's not too slow or too high where I'm overcorrecting and getting killed because of it. My ADS multiplier for low zoom is 0.9. This is again so I can be more snappy. This is my sweet spot that I found. 0.9 works very well for me. If it's too low, I can't track targets as well. And if it's too high, I overcorrect. So that's a good sweet spot. My high zoom is 1. I haven't changed this. This is for, you know, snipers and things like that. So I just keep that the same. You can mess around with this. It's not too big of a deal. My aim response curve type is dynamic for an S curve mapping for fine aim rate control. If you're on console, I would stick with standard. It is very hard to do dynamic on console, but for PC, I would try dynamic out. It really helps with centering and keeping your aim on the target when you're shooting them. Controller vibration, always had that disabled. I hate the vibration, and I've had this disabled ever since I started playing Call of Duty. Aim assist, standard. I wouldn't change it to anything else. I'd keep that at standard. Skill aim assist with FOV, enabled. Good players do use disabled as well as enabled, so this is a personal preference. For me, I get the most aim assist and do better in the game when I'm playing with enabled, but other good players like Aiden and Biffle use disabled, so that's just a personal choice. Go through each one, maybe spend a week with each one, see what you like the best, and then stick with that. Do not change like every day. Moving on to the last things, everything you want to have hold. Contextual tap, if you're not playing on this or with this, you definitely should be. It was a season 1 thing that you should have changed. This is where you just have to tap things instead of holding the buttons down, and it just helps with the gameplay move faster and will help you loot a lot faster as well. My plate behavior is apply 1. I changed a claw when I played up, so holding down with my index finger doesn't really affect me that much. Applying all you can do, but I like just apply 1, and then if someone is rushing me, I can just plate cancel real quick, and it's the same thing. So the last thing would be automatic tack sprint. You should be playing with this, so the second you move your left stick forward, you start sprinting instead of going into a walk or automatic sprint. You go into tack sprint, and this is really good for movement, running away, chasing people, and then also slide canceling. So all the good players use this, and I would advise you use this as well. But that's basically it for my settings. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or like want more context about any setting that I use and why I use it, just let me know and I will be sure to answer that. But thanks for watching, and everyone have a nice day. All right, thanks.